It's good to see you guys again here on the interwebs, here on this YouTube channel titled The Teacher Show. Forgive the fit this morning. I am doing some work, some morning work, so it's a bit cold out here in the area that I stay in right now. But I wanted to just shoot a quick video real fast. Trouble in Paradise is now available on Audible. So, for those of you who are on the go, who have a busy lifestyle, such as myself, you can now maybe enjoy the book, learn about why teachers are becoming OnlyFans and how goons and ops are dominating the classroom these days. It's available in listening format, so I'll leave a link in the description below for you to check that out. But I wanted to jump on here today and talk about how long will I actually be in education? And you already know, I've said it many times on this channel in bits and pieces, and I made a whole video about why I quit teaching videos are pointless and why I quit teaching videos are one and done. I understand they're necessary. Hold on, let me let this seat back because I'm just filming off the cuff here, no script. I understand that why I quit teaching videos are necessary. People need to get out and express just how bad education is. It's easy, but it's easy to dunk on education right now. There are a lot of evils that go on right now at this moment, but I actually wanted to make this video and actually go the opposite direction, which isn't popular. If you look at my channel right now, even through all the scripting, as much as I love writing and constructing the videos, I average probably a very paltry, very humble numbers of views, such as 50 views for one video, and then sometimes it'll go up. My highest video, I think, before I really niched down and started to want to talk about teaching, is at maybe I think 60,000 views, and that's a video I did back in 2016 about cleaning a juicer. But in terms of the teaching videos, the highest views I got is the 7 reasons why teachers are leaving, why they're frustrated, and that's up to almost 20,000 views. But I don't really do this for the views. I continue to show up as often as I can. I'm not very consistent, I understand that, but I continue to show up as often as I can to share a different perspective, to give you more of a structured insight in terms of the experience, the classroom experience, because it's not always bad. And again, that's what this video is about. I've already left education once, and I returned because I love the game of education. And when I say that is, you may immediately say to yourself, this ain't a game, this is people's lives. Well, let me explain something to you. I love the art and science of creating a activity. How are kids going to respond to it? Structuring it. How can I carry the narrative? Because when you structure a really good lesson, when you're trying to really set up a day's worth lesson cycle from beginning to end, it's almost like telling a story, and that taps into the creative writer's brain of mine, because I love to see how students are going to respond. The experimentation is what I enjoy. When I look at this field, this profession, I see it as the NBA, as Kobe would see it as the NBA. I look at the classroom as the basketball court, and when I show up, I'm looking to perform. I'm looking to help the kids perform. My performance is in making sure that the students are getting the learning that they actually need and trying to unlock that understanding. All by get understanding. And that's the aspect of teaching that I actually love, no matter how terrible it is, no matter what students I have in the classroom. Some years I'm only focused on just the relationship part because the home lives of the students just interfere so much with what they can actually receive in terms of things that will help them. And we're going through some very hostile times right now. I'm in the state of Texas, and with everybody on my Facebook page, my Facebook, man, it's crazy because, you know, Facebook is blue, YouTube is red. Feels like there's more like right-leaning people on YouTube and more left-leaning people on Facebook. Everybody's panicking about these vouchers in Texas, and I don't hear anything about it on YouTube, and it's just it's a crazy thing that I noticed. But I was like, I gotta jump off of here. I don't want to hear anything about these vouchers or anything like that. People worry about so much of the external concerns rather than just making the self-improvements in terms of how can they get better. They get so wrapped up in the outside things, and they don't really focus on, they don't really take ownership of themselves. Now, many a times I do give a whole amount of responsibility to the administration when it comes to managing the campus while the students are running around, etc. But at some point, the teacher has to actually take ownership and realize that things are not going to get better. They're actually going to get worse. So you have to really ask yourself the question, how am I going to really be great in this mess that they place me in? That's all. That's the only question you need to answer. All this worrying about, administration not holding students accountable is never going to happen. I've been doing this. This is my 10th year. I've never relied on administration to manage my classroom for me. As a matter of fact, I pretend administration doesn't even exist. And for some people who want to outsource their power, who want to outsource their control, they're going to be facing a very hard time in school if they don't figure out how to actually get things in on themselves. In my book, I actually shared a story about my father-in-law who used to teach at juvenile. And, once they let him in, the COs let him in, he was in there with, students, a bunch of juvenile delinquents. And he would tell me all the time that the COs weren't going to be there to help him. The only thing that kept him safe in terms of being with those kids was, number one, his relationship with Jesus Christ. I'm always going to mention that. So he's a pastor. And then number two, his personality. His being able to connect with students and being able to get them on his side. That's a skill you're going to have to learn. Another thing you're going to have to learn is also how to be able to let things roll off of you. The schools don't teach that. If there's something that districts need to hold training for, is how to develop a tough skin for if you're going to have a campus culture that's a profanity where kids are allowed to curse you out, at least at the very minimum, teach teachers, how do I actually handle this? How do I actually, excuse me, checking my microphone. Okay. How do I actually handle this? How do I actually develop a tough skin and not take this personally if somebody curses me out? And schools, they lose out on teachers that way because they don't prepare. They just throw people in and then have the audacity to have high expectations of them being excellent in the classroom. That's the audacity. But this is why I do these videos, because I want to give a balanced perspective. Yes, I could easily get the views, but I'm happy with my low view count right now because I know the quality of my viewership is going to be there, the engagement. There's already people who are, when I put up a video, they look forward, I guess, to me putting up a video, and I appreciate you guys for that, but I don't do it for the sake of viewership. I do it because I genuinely want people to be able to, if you're in a classroom and you're struggling, these are some insights, these are some expectations you need to just start giving into. These are the expectations you actually need to have when you go into the classroom. Don't go in there with no Hollywood, Ron, what's that guy's name? The guy that, oh man, I can't even remember his name. I think Ryan Reynolds played him. Ron something. Somebody leave it in the comments and everything else. But don't go in there with these freedom writers, Hilary Swank, Morgan Freeman, lean on me expectations like you're going to just turn the campus around and have people cheering you on. That's actually a slow process. And in reality, that's really not going to happen. At the very least, you're going to form relationships with students and you're going to make gradual changes. And if you're in this profession long enough, you'll be blessed to actually see and be able to see students years later who will be able to tell you thank you. And that right there makes it all worth it. I could leave today and I would be completely satisfied because I've been blessed enough to actually see the fruits of my investments running into kids that's now in medical professions and everything else. And like, man, I loved you as an English teacher. I loved you as a technology teacher. I loved you as an avid teacher, whatever, because it's about creating a really good environment and experience. It's not always about knowing your content and being, me being an English teacher, me being knowledgeable about everything about Shakespeare or literary devices, all that other stuff. It's not even about that, but it's about creating a really good experience and making sure that the students are leaving with something of value. Now, I understand too that, the kids are getting buck wild. I'm living in it. I've lived in it for several years right now. So you're preaching to the choir if you're hearing me talk about this and you're just like, How could you be saying this? You know the classroom is bad. These kids are out of control. I'm not going into teaching. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things right now. I'm gonna actually, you know what? Let me share this grim reality with you. There's a lot of industries that's not hiring at this moment. The tech sector isn't hiring. There's many other professions that they're laying people off, and the times are getting tough. You know what profession is still available though? Education. That's you're either going to become an entrepreneur, an online entrepreneur selling sneakers on Instagram or something, or you're going to go into teaching, because things are getting really, or if you, cause I've been in the tech sector before, you're either going to take your tech skills and you're going to build applications and learn marketing and sales and or bring people in and build. Those are your only options right now. I would actually encourage you, if you don't want to get an education, learn sales. Okay. Even with me doing teaching right now, I've been on the outside, and I've done sales, tech sales, still trying to make some money here and there online. Even with this book that I wrote, it's always the hustle. The hustle is never going to stop. Okay. The hustle is never going to stop, because I'm also very realistic, because in my book, you'll learn that in 2013, I was let go of my first teaching job in a profession where I was told job security was guaranteed, but it's not. It's just not. Even to this day, it's still not. Even though the education is desperate for teachers, the job security still isn't guaranteed at all. It's not guaranteed anywhere. So that showed me that I always need to be hustling and developing things and trying to figure things out. Henceforth, why this YouTube channel right now also still exists, in addition to me wanting to serve and help people navigate the classroom or escape the classroom, because I'm realistic about both sides. Now, I've ran it and went on to many different points in this video. So I want to bring this to a close in terms of if I was to leave teaching, there'll be only two reasons where I would leave teaching right now. How long am I going to stay in the classroom? I think that was the title of this video. I'm really at a chill place right now. There's only two reasons that I would leave the classroom. Number one, the good Lord told me I needed to go somewhere else again, like he did in 2019. I wasn't trying to leave teaching. He gave me a position, a door open for me to get into tech, and I walked through that door. That's all that it was. So that's number one. That's the only way that I would leave teaching right now. Number two is I've always wanted to be a full-time writer. That is it. That's the only way I will leave teaching. I'm either teaching or I'm writing at this moment. I'm not tripping about trying to look for another job or getting on here ranting and raving, just talking about how hellish education is. It's a given. We know that. Okay. So those one-off like videos and getting like millions of views because you're saying you're quitting teaching and people are empathizing. Okay, great. Fantastic. But those are only two reasons. And if I actually do leave education, I was to put a video up on here, and this is recorded right here on this day, February 15th, 2025, that the video would be titled, "It Finally Happened." So when you see that video and it's titled, "It Finally Happened," then you know I've left for one of those two reasons. I either did well in writing, because I'm still writing right now full time, if you want to check out some of my articles and other books that I've written, you can check them out at the bottom. You may be wondering, well, if you got these books and everything, how come you aren't full-time writing? Because I'm a poor marketer, okay? Outside of trying to push products through YouTube and do this organic thing, there's other things I could incorporate if I really wanted to scale stuff. But, maybe I'm content. Maybe I'm not in a desperate place right now like many other people. I know the online gurus are telling you, wake up without an alarm clock. It's really been one of my goals. God, man, I hate getting up in the morning to an alarm clock. But I'm just really content. So I'm not tripping. I just like the process and creativity of writing and sharing their works with people. So I do have these other books if you want to check them out. My ministry is in writing because I love talking about biblical topics. It's on me right now. I'm thinking about talking about how Pandora's box, what's the original Pandora's box right now in this time, because people think that when sin entered the world, that's when the demonic, these entities that we identify as the succubus, Lilith, all these things, soon as Adam bit of that fruit, it opened up this Pandora's box for all these evil entities to come through the world. And that's not entirely true. sin entered the world, yes, but when we're talking about the demonic, we're talking about unseen forces. They entered the world through a different way, and those are one of the things that I'm going to discuss in my other website that I actually have. So lots to talk about. But anyway, that's the only reason I would leave teaching, is because the Lord told me it was time, and he got me another position again, or I'm writing full time. Otherwise, I am here. I'm going to continue to make these videos to help you guys out, navigate or evacuate or escape. That's my message. Navigate or escape the classroom. I'm realistic on both sides. I've done both. I've been hustling and doing online stuff for years, and I'm going to continue to do that as long as there's still breath in my body. But if you have any topic that you would like me to talk about or hear my perspective when it comes to a classroom, I would love to see, just leave a comment down below. Make a suggestion. I would love to hear from you. But again, video off the cuff, not scripted. Thank you for listening and rocking with this video. And I want to continue to serve and help you out right now when it comes to the classroom. God bless y'all. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, Trouble in Paradise, audio version, available now, link in the description.